Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California, a candidate for Senate. Congressman Schiff, welcome back to Meet the Press. Thank you for being here.
Great to be with you.
It is great to have you here. I want to get your gut reaction to that interview on Friday night. Obviously, the president trying to turn the page. Based on what you saw, do you think he is still the strongest candidate to beat former President Trump?
Well, ultimately, this is a decision President Biden is going to have to make, and President Biden alone. But I would say this, he has been an extraordinary president. He has created millions and millions of jobs. He has expanded and strengthened our NATO alliances. He has brought back manufacturing in this country. He has brought about the most aggressive attack on climate change. He has done more in one term than most presidents ever do, no matter how many terms they get. And he's running against someone who's a pathological liar, someone who ran the country into the ground by his mishandling of a deadly pandemic, someone who is a pathological, not only a pathological liar, but is immoral, indecent, unfit for office. But the performance on the debate stage, I think rightfully raised questions among the American people about whether the president has the vigor to defeat Donald Trump. And this is an existential race. Given Joe Biden's incredible record, given Donald Trump's terrible record, he should be mopping the floor with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is running against a criminal. It should not be even close, and there's only one reason it is close, and that's the president's age. And what I would say, Kristen, what I would advise the president is seek out the opinions of people you trust. He's obviously talked to his family about this, and that's important. But he should seek out people with some distance and objectivity. He should seek out pollsters who are not his own pollsters. He should take a moment to make the best informed judgment. And if the judgment is run, then run hard and beat that SOB.
Congressman, what is your opinion? I mean, you watched that interview on Friday, and a lot of Democrats say it was fine. He certainly seemed stronger, more robust than during the debate, but it didn't put concerns to rest. Are you confident he can beat Donald Trump, or do you think he should drop out of the race?
The interview didn't put concerns to rest. No single interview is going to do that. And what I do think the president needs to decide is, can he put those concerns aside? Can he demonstrate to the American people that what happened on the debate stage was an aberration, that he can and will beat Donald Trump? Given this Supreme Court decision now essentially making any future Trump a dictator and a king, it's all the more important. But here's the thing. I think if the president takes the time to consult people and has an open mind about this, he will do what Joe Biden always does, which is he will make the right decision. He'll make the decision in the best interest of the country. That's what he has always done, and I'm confident that's what he will do here.
You heard Nancy Pelosi say that it's legitimate to ask, was this an episode or a condition? President Biden refused to commit to take a cognitive test. Do you think he should take a cognitive test?
Look, I'd be happy if both the president and Donald Trump took cognitive tests.
So that's a yes. You think he should take a cognitive test?
I think they both should be willing to take a test. I think, frankly, a test would show Donald Trump has serious illness of one kind or another. But ultimately, the decision is going to come down to what Joe Biden thinks is best. And if his decision is to run, then run hard and beat that SOB. And if his decision is to pass the torch, then the president should do everything in his power to make that other candidate successful.
And let me ask you about next steps, because obviously there are going to be meetings on Capitol Hill. Leader Jeffries, Mark Warner, concerned about down ballot races. Are Democrats in trouble with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket?
Look, there are concerns with the impact on down ballot races if the president doesn't do well.
Is he dragging down ballot races as we speak?
You know, at present, our down ballot candidates in the Senate and House are doing well. They're all ahead. They are running well ahead of the president. But you can only run so far ahead of the president. And so obviously Joe Biden is going to need to consider for his own sake and his own legacy, can he beat Donald Trump? He's the best to beat Donald Trump. But also the profound impact this decision, maybe the most important of his presidency, will have on the House, on the Senate, on the future of the country.
You know, Congressman, when I talked to Democrats, one of the exchanges that frustrated the most from that interview on Friday was when he was asked what happens if you lose. President Biden said it's about whether he gave it his all. Is that what it's about? Is that answer satisfying to you?
No, that is the answer that most concerned me as well. This is not just about whether he gave it the best college try, but rather whether he made the right decision to run or to pass the torch. That is the most important decision for him to make right now. This is about whether this country remains a democracy, whether we veer off into some kind of pseudo dictatorship. Everything is riding on this, and I know people feel an urgency. I feel an urgency, but I would tell the president, slow down and take the time to make the right decision here. That's best for the country, and I believe he will.
You laid out the stakes right before the debate. You noted that the country is divided. This will be a close election, as it was back in 2020. I want to play a little bit of what you said.
You can't discount the chance that if he loses again, when he loses again, that he will go to even greater lengths to try to overturn the results. The only remedy really is the one in all of our hands, and that is to make sure that Joe Biden wins overwhelmingly, that this is not close.
Congressman, overwhelmingly, can President Biden win overwhelmingly by any stretch at this point?
Either he has to win overwhelmingly or he has to pass the torch to someone who can't. It's as simple as that, because what the Supreme Court did in that decision was give the next occupant of that office, whether it's Joe Biden or anyone else, nearly dictatorial power.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that coming up, but let me very quickly ask you about the vice president. You saw the polling. One poll shows her doing better against former President Trump. Do you think she's a stronger candidate to take on Donald Trump?
I think the vice president would be a phenomenal president. I think she has the experience, the judgment, the leadership ability to be an extraordinary president.
Could she win overwhelmingly, Congressman?
I think she very well could win overwhelmingly, but before we get into a decision about who else it should be, the president needs to make the decision whether it's him. I don't want to get into a debate. I don't think it's good for the party to get into a debate over, okay, if not him, then whom, but rather let's focus on the fundamental decision.
I want to get to immunity. How quickly does he have to make this decision, though? The next week, the next 10 days?
It needs to be made promptly, but frankly, more important than speed is getting it right.
Let me ask you about the immunity decision. In the past, Mr. Trump has accused you personally of fraud and treason. He's called for members of the January 6th committee to be indicted, as you know. Are you personally concerned about the former president's threats against you should he be reelected?
Of course. I think anyone who's on his enemies list should be concerned. Because,
what scares you most? What concerns you most?
Well, what concerns me the most is what the court just did was to basically tell Donald Trump, you can do anything through the Justice Department. You can do anything through the military. These are core responsibilities of the President of the United States. You will have unquestioned immunity for whatever you do. And even outside of that, you will have such a strong presumption of immunity as to be irrebuttable. Donald Trump already had very few guardrails. All the people of stature, the Secretary Mattis's and others, he drove out, replaced them with utter sycophants. He would start with the utter sycophants, and he would start with no guardrails whatsoever. He was talking about bringing Liz Cheney up before a military tribunal. If there's anything that should show the American people that he is unfit to be president, it's statements like this.
Very quickly, given those high stakes, should President Biden drop out and pass the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris or someone else who you believe could win overwhelmingly?
I think Joe Biden should take the time, talk to people outside of his immediate circle, talk to people he respects, people with objectivity, people with distance, and make the right decision for the country. And I'm confident Joe Biden has always made the decision in the best interest of the country. It is the fundamental distinction between he and Donald Trump. Donald Trump, you can always count on to do what's best for Donald Trump. But Joe Biden, you can count on to do what's right for the country.
All right.